Hi, my name is Steven Cifuentes. I'm doing the discussion board for the 20th century. So how am I doing? I'm doing pretty well. TMEA went well. I had a lot of fun in San Antonio listening to all the different bands. And lately we haven't been really doing much. We got more music for a jazz band. Other than that, I played a song for the Wind Symphonies, La Zandunga, with a singer, and it came out well. And I also played one of my senior recital pieces at the guitar ensemble. And don't mind that squeaking, it's my dog. But yeah, both of them went well. Pluto. Both of them went well, and it was actually the first time I performed in front of people in the auditoriums, for guitar at least, by myself, so that was exciting. So my composer, I chose to do Aaron Copland. He was a 20th century musician who was famous for writing music scores. He was born in New York in the 1900s and passed away at the age of 90. Some of his most notable films are The Plow That Broke the Plains, The River, and also his most famous one being Of Mice and Men. And his style, even though he only did a few movies, penetrated through Hollywood, and they've been using it a lot ever since. So some of my specific research, he was the first major American composer to be recognized by the public, and there was more imitations of his style, more than any other American composer. And he was known to have 3 distinct styles. So he had a jazz style, and an example of that would be his music for the theater. He had an Ostery style, and an example would be his piece Statements, and he had a folk style, which an example would be Our Town. Due to his popularity, most mainstream media throughout the 20th century had hints of his style all throughout. And then tell us about the piece you described. Okay, so the piece I described is one of his solo piano pieces, not one of his movie scores. And I just thought this one was interesting as it reminded me of all the old cartoons I used to watch, such as Tom and Jerry. The song is called The Cat and the Mouse, and it's a piano solo, and it's in 4/4, but the thing about this piano solo is that it's very chaotic. The dynamics change multiple times. There are crazy chords, crazy runs, crazy licks. You can't really determine a specific melody, but the chaos is organized in such a way that it makes sense onto the progressions that they're going on. And I'll put a link to that, but that was the piece I chose. It's in the key of D major and C major, but there's a ton of modulation throughout the piece to give it that chaotic feeling. And then the original connection. So for my connection, I was looking at how scenes... Pluto, please. I was looking at how scenes in media that I consume has affected the way I view, such as I play a lot of video games, and the music in the video games really changes the dynamics on how you see the video game and how you experience it. So one of the examples I used in his movie is in Of Mice and Men. In the final scene, George is looking for Lenny, and while Lenny doesn't know where George is, the music is very intense and dark, showing almost the fear that Lenny had. But as soon as George sees Lenny and believes that he's alone, the music is very happy, almost like everything's gonna be okay, even though the audience knows that these are Lenny's final moments. So there's a play between the music and the scene that's really beautiful, and I was looking for those things in the media I consume.